we're gonna see this interview between Angie Martinez and Coi Leray, and the subject of her father, Benzino, comes up. Now, anybody who knows Coi Leray is a female artist. Yeah, so Coi Leray is a female artist. I had to adjust something real quick. Benzino is her father. And anybody that kind of knows the dynamics between those two, they know that it's not contentious. It's just one day they're tight like this, and then the next day they're sending shots at each other for no reason. So the reason why I wanted to show this clip is to show, especially the new men coming up, just forget their status, forget what you think about Benzino and Coi Leray personally. Just look at the dynamics and understand, if you're going to have a daughter in this age, you might have to leave them. You might, if you want to raise a daughter, a proper daughter, you're most likely going to have to leave the States to do it and find somewhere else to raise your daughter, and maybe your family in general, because it's really hard to keep order. You know what I mean? It's really hard to keep order. They've basically taken, if parental rights is not even really a thing anymore. Especially when you're talking about father and son, or especially father and daughter, you know, your hands have to be off at all times. So I'm gonna play this interview and I'll rip it apart, you know, afterwards, you know, and put some commentary in there.
How does your father deal with the success? Because that's got to be triggering for him in a lot of ways too. Triggering, or maybe he's just proud, or maybe like, I don't know.
You know, at first it was rocky because I felt like he couldn't handle my success. I felt like it did come from an envious place, which is okay because he's human and it's fine. But I felt like, you know, he still wants, like, he's one of those people that feels like, yo, like, I still have a story to tell. You know, I still feel like I have to say something. Like, no, he's like, I have to say something. Like, he's one of those people like, let me at him.
The same way you just said that no matter what happens in this business, you're not going to let it go.
Right, but you...
Ironic. And I'm going to actually give Angie Martinez her props for calling out Coi Leray, because what Coi Leray said about her father, Benzino, which is true, not the envious part, but in terms of what his personality is, Coi, that's you. That's the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. But regarding her comments, what stuck out to me is she believes that her father is envious. And this is the part I wanted to pull out, because it's clear Benzino heard that part too, and he was like, oh, hell no. Nah. So right here, I'm going to read Benzino's response. He says, this has to be the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard in my entire life on this earth. How the fuck can I be envious towards someone I raised, nurtured, provided for, influenced, and loved very dearly? This industry and the internet have completely messed up the minds of this young generation. I'm tired of her pushing a false narrative about who I am and what I've done as a father. In my 40 years in hip hop, I've never seen an artist dog their parents out the way Coi does, and it's embarrassing and sad. And one last thing, Angie Martinez knows she doesn't like me, which is true. So she's just being manipulative and messy. They want me to crash out, but I've worked on myself so hard that I ain't going backwards for anything. But what I won't do is allow anyone to slander my name and push a false narrative on my reputation and who I am. I've shed too many blood, sweat, and tears, survived street wars and indictments. Nope, no more. So that's what I wanted to talk about, because of the internet, because of it's like the bag that kids can get nowadays is different than how it was back then. So especially when you're talking about young females, young women can monetize themselves early. I'm talking about sexually monetize themselves early. Now, they don't want to call it sexual. They don't want to call it objectification, but they're basically objectifying themselves early. So in Coi Leray's mind, unfortunately, let me put it on me real quick. Let me put it on me. Oi, oi, oi. No. Put it on me. So unfortunately, in Coi Leray's mind, and this happens to is gonna happen if you are a father of a daughter, and say she decides to do OnlyFans, right? Or she decides to be an industry musician, right? Or she decides to put herself in modeling. Same thing. If she decides to prostitute herself, the hesitation, there's going to be a natural hesitation from the father, because he knows what that means when you decide to put yourself out there to the public. He knows what comes with that. So there's going to be a natural hesitation, and that natural hesitation to protect his daughter from being sexually objectified is going to be seen as jealousy or envy. The daughter's going to think that the father is being envious of her, because at the end of the day, she wants to objectify herself. And as a father, it's natural to stop your daughter, to want to stop your daughter from objectifying herself. So say if you're a father and your daughter discovers, oh, I can make a bag on OnlyFeet or Feet Finder, right? The Feet Finder website. And all of a sudden you're making a bag, and then all of a sudden your father's like, whoa, where are you getting this money from? And say, whoa, how are you getting this money? What, you're selling feet pics? Now, back in the day, that's natural. Like back in the day, you could literally put your daughter out there and be like, look what she did to my name. She's selling her feet. Pictures of her feet. And then the village would be like, oh my God, stone her. I mean, well, not that. They would be like, bruh, are you kidding me? Why would you do that to your dad? Why would you sell yourself in public? Why would you objectify yourself and ruin your dad's name? Now, if the father confronts the daughter and is hesitant about, oh, I don't want you joining this industry, it's going to be seen as jealousy, because nowadays women want to objectify themselves because they know the money's going to come direct to them. So it's a weird spot, because for her to say my father was envious of me, I already see but what people don't understand, there's a miscommunication. There's it's not to be taken literal. It's what every father and daughter are going to be going through. It's weird. It's weird. It's a weird thing, because it's going to be a natural hesitation from the father to save her daughter from being objectified, because that's his daughter. Nowadays, daughters, the women want to objectify themselves. They look at themselves as athletes. These new women now, they're looking at themselves as athletes. Now, basically, okay, at this age, let me monetize my youthness instead of using my beauty, youth, and fertility to start a family. They want to use that to make money off simps. So either whether that means making OnlyFans early, whether that means selling themselves to the music industry, like Ice Spice, Sexy Red, all these ladies, whether it's even joining porn, right? Joining the adult industry, or say if you're a sports star already, but you can make more money by modeling, like a lot of these new female athletes are doing with the NILs, where you see Livy Dunn, who's not even a good gymnastics person, but she's pretty and she has a fan base, so she's going to monetize that. Or just by simply starting a social media page, a fitness page. And we all know what that means. A fitness page is just her taking pictures of her in the gym and make sure the camera is right up her ass. That's most IG models fitness pages. That's what that is. Now, dads are naturally going to want to stop that, because you're like, I don't want my daughter to be objectified. But the daughter is going to see that him trying to stop her from doing that is jealousy. Now it's almost like you trying to stop my bag. We are in weird times. This is a perspective that you're not going to hear from most. People are going to take it as, what do you mean the father is jealous? No. In her mind, in Coi's mind, he's jealous of her. Even though when we got to look at, now all I got to do is look at it from Benzino's point. He knows, he probably knew for a long time his daughter wanted to be in the industry, and there's going to be a natural hesitation because he knows what girls in this industry be doing. He's part of it. That's why he might have was hesitant. But that hesitancy is you trying to stop me from a bag. It's not like how back in the day daughters knew it was wrong, but they knew that the dads were just trying to protect them from being objectified. But now these new girls coming up, anybody that's stopping them from getting the bag is a misogynist, is a woman hater, or intimidated by their success. So this is the new stuff that we're dealing with right now, and that's where the disconnect between Benzino and Coi Leray comes from, and this is where the disconnect is going to come from. Today's fathers and daughters, them trying to grow together and trying to grow a relationship, trying to grow something solid. So I would say this to conclude this all: if you have a daughter, you might have. First of all, I would say if you want kids in general, I'm giving advice to the men. If you want kids in general in America, you might want to do a surrogacy. You might want to consider that route, because it's the dynamics right now is just way too much on the female's advantage. There's just too much incentive. There's no incentive for women to be a wife, like a dutiful wife, a dutiful girlfriend, a dutiful mother. They're giving women every incentives to destroy their families. So it's not even a matter of women being bad. It's just there's just too much incentive for the average woman to break up her family and ruin the father, like the whole legacy and all of that. There's just too much incentives to ruin the woman so much to a point where they know she's going to ruin the kids, but they still let her keep the kids. There's too much incentives. So I would consider surrogacy, but if you're not going to go that route, make sure you're in another country to find a wife and stay there. Now, if you have a daughter, if you end up having a daughter, or if you have a family situation right now, you're going to have to start convincing the people around you to move, because the influences are too much. There should be no point where a daughter, it's almost like it's Rome 2.0. We're living in Rome 2.0, where a daughter is thinking that her father is envious of her. The father, what father? I've never heard of a father being jealous of his. I've never heard that shit in my life. I mean, a father being jealous of the daughter. I've never heard of I'm talking about the something similar is what Marvin Gaye Sr. and Marvin Gaye Jr. And that was a father and son. I've never heard father jealous of the daughter. Father jealous of the daughter for what? I have never heard that shit in my life. Or envious. But these new terms, when you're talking about, oh, men are intimidated by me. What man is intimidated by a woman? Not the average man. So there's a clear disconnect between men and women in America, and the dynamics between a father and daughter. For her to even think that just shows. If somebody in the comment section was talking about they need family therapy, I think, I do see pictures of them, Benzino and Coi Leray together. So I don't know. They seem to have like an on and off type of bonding relationship. But this is just to show the mindset. A man stopping his daughter from objectifying himself is going to be seen as jealousy on the daughter's end. The daughter's going to think that the father's being jealous. It's weird times that we're living in, man.